Welcome back, my friends. My name is Eric. This is Mellow7 Gaming, and we're back with a kind of reaction video, I guess, today. An update to Solasta is going to be dropping today. In fact, I believe it's already there, although I have not looked yet. And they posted a video about it. So I've already read the patch notes, or at least the dev diary talking about what was going to be in this. Let's go ahead and watch the video really quickly, and we can kind of talk about it as we go through that. Let's go ahead and hide the video or the picture there. Whoops, that's not what I want. I want to just do that. There we go. And it had 22 views, and I was the only like at one point. So get out there and like this one. This is a good one. And let's hit play and see what they have to say.
Hey there, folks! We just released a big update for Solasta Crown of the Magister, so we wanted to share with you a glimpse of what you can expect when you next launch the game. The first big addition is the Dungeon Maker tool that you'll be able to find directly in the main menu. This will allow you to create, play, and share maps online with other players. You can watch the video on the Dungeon Maker for more information.
Oops. Apparently I can't pause. It pops up and then quickly pops back down again, interestingly. Anyway, the Dungeon Maker is going to be, I think, very cool. I think everybody's really going to enjoy that, and I probably will do a video on the Dungeon Maker itself. They do have a specific video about it, and they've had some dev diaries and some stuff. I know that the UI changed a little bit from what they talked about originally in the dev diary to what got released into the game, and that's fine. You know, that's a standard iteration type of thing. No idea if it's good or bad yet. We shall find out. But I am very excited about the Dungeon Maker, and I think there's a lot of closet DMs out there that are also excited about the Dungeon Maker, and some not so closet DMs as well. So we'll see how that goes.
I'll be damned.
The spring update will also give you access to background quests and side quests.
Can't say I expected you.
Background quests are linked to each party member's background that you selected during character creation. These are fully fledged quests with dialogues and new locations to visit.
No, more like hired assassins.
Side quests, on the other hand, can be found at the adventuring board in the middle of Karakiflin. They will take you back to places you visited, but with different and harder encounters, usually rewarding you with coin and magic items.
All right, so let's talk about the, let's see, where are we at? 125. Oh, it's conveniently broke down. So I like the idea of the background quests quite a lot. You know, something that takes advantage of the decisions you made when you made your character creation. So all of a sudden, those decisions aren't just based on a pure numbers stats thing. They're also going to determine some of your adventuring capability. And that may mean that you're more likely to take backgrounds that you wouldn't otherwise take just to explore the additional content. And I think that's a great way to add replayability to the game. You know, ultimately, they're still going to be somewhat limited. There's only X number of backgrounds available. But I really like it. It's a good, easy way to kind of spice up the content, to add some stuff in there. They said in the dev diary, I believe, that they were at different levels. So you're not all of a sudden going to hit level 3 and everybody's going to get their background quest at once. They're going to be spread out throughout the levels. I assume still relatively easy lower levels. So there may be some min-maxing for those that are into that, where, you know, you need the extra levels at a specific place to get you to a certain point for the next quest, or where maybe the rewards are going to be a little bit better if it's a higher level quest, so you'd rather take that than the lower level version. I don't know. It's going to add some thought for the min-maxers, but I think mostly it adds replayability by allowing us to go back in and try each background and see what the quests are and be able to play through that content. So I really like that. The side quests. Now, they mentioned here, let me find, once we get past this, wherever that horrible hair, it'll pop up there, but then it won't stay there. We all know that hairstyle. We saw it scroll by. It's bad. The assassins.
Fully fledged quests with dialogues and new locations.
Here, it's coming up.
More like hired assassins.
What's up? It's like he shaved his head, and then he got a white bad wig with receding hairline. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with his hair. It might be worth a thumbs down just for this hair, guys, but let's not go crazy. No, what I'm interested in is the side missions and the mission board. Now, this is where I think is an easy way for them to incorporate additional dungeons and quests that we make. You might be able to have the option to mod in your own dungeons and quests as side quests. That plug into the regular world, and this would be where you'd access them. That's how I would do it. Very similar to what Neverwinter Nights did, right? Where you go to the mission board and you pick them, and there you can choose by level and by class and by all sorts of other different things, and you can pick these modded character created missions through that. Now, it would be great if we can create our entire own quest lines from go, right? Rather than do this campaign, we're able to start our own campaign with our own series of quests, utilizing the locations that are in the map. Maybe everything's unlocked for the DM and they can determine what stays locked or unlocked and determine path throughout the world with the existing NPCs and models that are in place that you can do stuff with. I would love that. But short of that, I think it'd be really nice to be able to make small side missions that can be modded into the game and that are accessed through this board here. So we'll see, fingers crossed. Either way, I like the side missions. I like that extra ability. You know, maybe you're not quite ready. Maybe you're really struggling with the quest. You want to go back, get a few more levels. You're close to that next bonus, you know, that level before you go out, and you'd like to do that. Maybe you just want to explore the world a little bit more. And that honestly, I think is the best reason to do them. So I'm glad to see additional main storyline content out there, whether it be the background missions or whether it be these side missions, and the possibility, which I hope is what they're aiming for, of making modded character created missions available through in this as well is just a cherry on the cake. Cherry on top, however that saying goes. We'll see. I'm excited about this. This along with the character creator are the bits that I think are the most impactful for anything else that is going to be announced in this one. So let's go and take a look at difficulty settings, which I know probably a lot of people are really into, but less so me. Oh.
With the spring update comes the difficulty settings. You'll be able to customize your experience with tons of different options that you'll be able to change at any time, even in the middle of combat. As many players were struggling, we made some adjustments to Sorax and early game encounters to make them a little less punitive. On the other hand, we also implemented legendary actions to add an extra layer of challenge to later boss fights.
Okay, so they did a few things within the difficulty, and I think is that yes. I watched it and then automatically forgot it. There's a few things within this that I think are important that maybe got a little bit, I won't say overlooked, but you know, in the interest of brevity, they went a little faster through it. And again, you can read the dev diary, you can look at patch notes, that sort of stuff to get more. But my understanding is that the Sorax were originally designed as a player race, not as a monster, with their own classes and their own stuff. And that makes them a little bit more powerful for their level, because obviously the characters are expected to be able to defeat monsters of equal level. Otherwise, if it was just a crapshoot of 50-50, the game wouldn't go anywhere. No D&D game would go anywhere. And so what they've done is they've gone back to the drawing board a little bit. They've changed classes. They've made the different Sorak classes, for lack of a better term, more distinct, so that each type of Sorak fills a role a little bit more distinctly than it did. Whereas they all had kind of some special abilities, but maybe they seemed similar to you within the game. They didn't stand out enough. And so they've gone back in and they've redone the Sorax to kind of bring them a little bit more in line with other monsters of the same kind of challenge level or class level, rather than in line with player characters. Now, there's some good and there's some bad in this. I think if we're just treating Sorax as monsters, as a baddie, this is exactly what they should be. It should be in line. I love the fact that they've been made a little bit more a little bit more distinct. That might make them slightly more of a one-trick pony. It makes things a little more rock, paper, scissors, maybe, to defeat them or to fight against them. I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just a thing to be aware of. However, I would love to have left them as a player class and potentially later down the road maybe have a DLC where you play as the Sorax, right? You're trying to take your place back in the world, and maybe those classes that were created for this become the classes you can choose. A different set of class that's available within the Sorax than are traditionally available within Dungeons and Dragons to fulfill these very specific these types of roles, these types of things that are within the Sorak culture itself, combined with maybe this disguise ability that they're rumored to have, and maybe your goal is to completely take over like a thing. No survivors, nobody escapes to tell the tale of the Sorax return, right? Where you're trying to take over these remote locations in your quest for the gems themselves without letting people the word get out that you're back, right? I think that would be an amazing DLC quest line, and I'm a little. I didn't expect it. Let's be honest. It's not anything I thought was going to happen. But changing these from kind of this original character class style that they had when they originally designed the game to more of a monster beastery type class means that kind of means that's never going to happen. So I'm a little bit sad about that. But I don't have a problem with what they changed in the game. I think most people find it better. I know there's a couple encounters where they subtracted one Sorak out. One of them was you come through the tunnels and you're overlooking their camp, right? And they just keep coming and coming and coming. And that's a tough fight because it's at the very end before a rest area. And so you're a little bit wiped out if you haven't marshaled your stuff. I know they thought that kind of the surprise round was going to be more useful, but I'll be honest with you. I've had surprise rounds where absolutely every single thing missed. And so, because there's long range, there's light, there's other issues that fell in that. So the prize round really, you weren't able to get to the positioning and the ability that you needed to get to make it consistently the leveler that you needed it to be. Now, having said that, the fight's not unwinnable. You have to think about it a little bit. I thought it was one of the better fights. When I lost those fights, I rarely raged that RNG was against me. I mostly felt that I had done something wrong. I'd placed myself in the wrong position. It was a tactically challenging fight that was doable. And if you'd managed to kind of shepherd your abilities up to that point, which I don't think was that difficult, it was definitely doable. I thought it was one of the more enjoyable fights as it was. I like the fact that you could try to get torches and stuff going, and especially once they added the spell to light torches and stuff from a distance. I really thought that changed that fight for the better, and that was enough of a change right there to change the lighting conditions that the fight became much more useful. So I don't know. I thought that fight was fun, as opposed to the fight where you're on the pillars and they'll come running from out of the darkness and knock you off without you having a chance to do anything or be able to. Yeah, that was. And with very, very limited places where you could put yourself to avoid that happening, which really limited kind of the flow of the fight. Now, when they got rid of them shoving you off stuff, that fixed that, but it took flavor away. I think it was just, I don't think the monsters were too powerful. I think it's just a badly designed section of the dungeon, if we're honest. But we'll see. Like I said, so Sorax are more distinct in their classes. They've taken a couple of them. They've taken one out of two separate encounters, and the boss fights are now going to be a little different as they've given them these legendary abilities, which I think will be fun. The boss fights, if we're honest, were probably some of the easier fights compared to some of the others. That doesn't necessarily mean they were too easy. You could just as easily say the other fights were too hard, but I think some sort of balance that flips those so the boss fight feels like a boss fight, I think is good. I like that. I think all of that is excellent. So let's go ahead and take a look at the level cap and the new feats.
As your party will gain more experience, we've also increased the level cap from 6 to 8, meaning you'll now have access to level 4 spells. We also added new feats to help make weapon choice feel a little more special. such as Twin Blades allowing dual wielders to increase their AC against a melee attack as a reaction, or Follow-Up Strike giving two-handed users an additional minor attack as a bonus action. There are a lot of other changes we haven't even touched in this video, such as achievements being added, the AI of some monsters being reworked, and the world map being improved, but we'll let you find out all of that on your own. We hope you have a lot of fun with the spring update, and we are eager to see what sort of crazy dungeons you will be creating with the Dungeon Maker. See you around!
All right, let us talk about level cap increase and new martial feats. That's with the extra content that's now in the game. There's no additional campaign missions, but with the extra background missions and side missions, that makes sense, right? You're gonna get that extra level cap. That's great. If you do all these quests, you could conceivably be an extra level higher going into the final stuff, which conceivably could make things a little easier. I don't think we really had too much trouble working through it when we did it last time. Being an extra level higher is not going to make that more difficult. Let's be fair. But it'd be nice to see additional spells. The new martial feats. The stated goal is to make weapon choice more impactful, but I think it makes it less impactful, right? Going dual wield means you're giving up defense for additional attacks. So then allowing you to use a reaction to get more defense, and then make the two-handed weapon give you more attacks, so it plays more like a dual wield weapon. All they've done is make the weapons the same. They've done the exact opposite of their stated goal of making them more distinct. They've actually made them the same. So I like the idea of more choice. Don't get me wrong. I think choice is there. And sometimes you choose a weapon not because of the mechanics, but because of the flavor of the character, right? And I think that's important. Fashion, right? It looks cool to have the two swords, but maybe you still want to run a tank that has two swords, and you can't because you've given up that defense for the weapons. Now, I don't think that's a terrible trade-off to make, to be fair. I think that's part of the decision you make when you create your characters. But allowing you to be able to take feats that get you these additional defensive abilities with the two weapons, it just means that more people are going to be able to make that choice. And I guess that's a good thing, but it feels to me that when you're making a character, it's all about you're trading this for that, and they're taking those decisions away. Essentially, you can take any weapon now, and through the feat system, you can make it act like any other weapon, which makes every weapon a generic weapon. So I'm not a fan of... For my own personal play style, for how I play the games and how I like to create characters and how I like to make choices, this is not the best decision on their part. Having said that, I can see the benefits of why other people's play styles will benefit from this decision. So I think this is a net zero. Some people are really gonna like it, and some people are really gonna dislike it. But at the end, pick them, right? 6 one, half dozen the other. Whose play style is more important than the other. And if I don't like those feats, I don't have to take those feats. I can continue to play two-handed weapons as two-handed weapon, and then two weapons as two weapons, and such on, and maybe take feats that will exemplify those features of those weapons rather than bringing them back towards the norm, right? Now, I know that feats was something that I complained about early, that there weren't enough of them, and that's more based on what version of the game they're playing. Feats are not nearly as big a part of 5th edition as they were of past editions, and as such, they weren't initially part of this. However, I feel that a lot of the martial classes are only able to separate themselves and allow that customization through a feat system. They don't have spells to choose. They don't have the 8 billion skills that rogues get, to fine-tune their characters and add utility. Feats are really it. They get feats to make them more useful within combat. And that is what makes those characters distinctive and allows you to customize them in your own way. And without feats, it makes it very difficult to do with the martial classes. And that maybe is a failing of Dungeons and Dragons as a whole. But as long as you're within this game, you need to find ways to try to do that. And so while I've said I don't like the specific feats they've added, I think feats are needed to separate martial classes out, and the rest of it's just really style and taste. And we'll take what we can get. So as a whole, more feats is good. How you use them potentially, I think, can water down classes, or they can make classes more distinctive. It's in your hands. Do what you will with them. That's your play style, and I guess that's up to the individual player. I guess at the end of the day, more freedom within the game to make the character you want is a good thing. So I'll take back my net zero, and we'll say that more options is good, just across the board. It's up to you to use it how you want. So that kind of concludes my kind of thoughts on this. Like I said, when I watched this, there were only 22 people had watched it. Go take a look at it. Give them a thumbs up if this is the type of stuff and changes you enjoy. If you're interested in more specific information, feel free to go dig through the patch notes when they're available. They may be available now. And go look through the dev diaries, which I just read a few days ago on this exact update. So, which was on Steam. So take a look at it. Let me know. I'll probably do a video on the Dungeon Maker. I probably won't do anything else. There's no continue on with the campaign. And at this point, I think I've seen what I need to see from the game to know that I want the game, but also to a point where I don't want to replay the same early stuff over and over again and be bored when it comes time for the final release. So I'm probably not going to do long playthroughs at all until the game comes out. But we may look at additional small features such as the Dungeon Maker and talk about these major updates and patches as they come out, as the game works its way towards its final release. So thanks for watching. As always, thumbs up, thumbs down. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you head over to let's take a look and see how I'm gonna throw something up just in case there's something terrible there. Let's find my thumbnail. Let's turn that on. I'm gonna back out of this. I don't think there's anything weird here, but just to make sure, let's go ahead. We'll come back here real quick now that I've verified nothing terrible is on the screen. Make yourself over to Tactical Adventure. Subscribe like I am. Give them a thumbs up. Give them your feedback down in the comments. Share the links. All of that good sort of stuff. And I shall also do a quick share, and we'll copy that, and we will try to put that into the description down below. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Cheers.